Hey guys, welcome to my first ever FIFA 16 prediction card. So how I'm gonna do this, guys, I took in consideration, guys, what rating the teams having head to head currently, because if you guys don't know, EA updates that every week, like putting the ratings on the teams, on the players, what they think is their actual rating right now. So I took that in mind, and I also took how they did in the league. So we're gonna start with Chivas, and you guys looking at Chepo de la Torre right now. His team is Chivas, so let's go ahead and start this, guys. Okay, so the first guys are gonna be the goalkeeper. Cota had a very good season with Puebla. Actually, he was a loan from Pachuca to Puebla, and he got signed in by Chivas. So I think a 66 is good for him. And then we have Rodriguez. He didn't play because Mitchell was playing all the time, but I think a 68 is good for him. Let's go ahead to the defenders. I think Marin, he didn't play that much, only in the cup games. So I think a 60 is pretty good for him. Although he might be lower, so I give him a 60. And then Basulto, new center, a new right back. I think he was in the under a team of Chivas in second division team. So I think a 58 is pretty good for him. And he's kind of fast. I watched some video about him, and I think Miguel Ponce is gonna stay in the same rating. I don't think they're gonna upgrade his rating, so I think a 70 for him. It's fine, and I think he's gonna have more competition now that we got a new left back, which you guys gonna see right now. And then Salcedo, I gave him a 70, guys. I don't think EA is gonna give him that high of a upgrade. So a 70, I think it's good for him. And then we have Alanis, which I gave him a 71. He's actually 69 rated on head-to-head right now. So a 71, I think, pretty good since he's in the national team. And he's actually going to be in the Copa Oro, guys. And then Pereira, I think he deserves at least a 70. He was one of the top Liga MX defenders this season, guys, along with Salcedo. So I think these are perfect stats for him, stats that he deserves, in my opinion. And let's go ahead into our okay, guys. So our next player is Edwin Hernandez, and I gave him a 69, guys, because he's a really good left back. But I think EA might downgrade him more, because Leon didn't have that great of the season. They were actually one of the worst teams this past season, so we might see even a 67 to 68, but I think 69 is pretty good for him. And let's go ahead into our next player. Our next player is Lopez. I think he's gonna be right back, guys, because he played that position most of the time. He only played right wing back. He only played right wing on the Liguilla, actually, when Brizuela got injured. So 67 is pretty good for him, in my opinion. And then we have Salcido. I think he's gonna be getting a 70 because that's his head-to-head rating, and he's already like kind of old, and EA does bring ratings down on old players. So I think a 70 is pretty good for him. He was kind of the best CDM Chivas had right now. And then Enriquez, I think I see Enriquez being a 65 to even a bronze player, because he didn't have that good of the season with Chivas. He started doing a lot better at the end of the season, having two amazing games with Chivas at the end of the season. So 65, I think they're gonna bring him a 65 rating. So it's gonna be fine. I think it's as good for him. And then let's go to our next player is Castro. I think they're gonna keep him at 68. That's what they have him a head-to-head. So I think he's gonna keep the rating of 68, guys, and I think that's good for him. Although he did play the whole season along with Salcido on the center defensive mid, and so he did pretty good. So let's go ahead into our next player. Our next player is Perez. He's a cam. He's actually also coming to Chivas first team from the younger division, which is I think it's the second division, which is for young players. So he's coming up for the first team. He's a cam. So hopefully he does good for Chivas. And then we have Cisneros, which he was actually in a loan, and he's returning to Chivas. He plays as a right winger, but he can also play striker. I think a 64 is good for him because he's still young, guys, and I see him having a 64 rating or a bronze rating. I don't see him being a silver, but that's the rating I gave him. And let's go ahead into our next match. Next one, I think Sanchez is gonna be downgraded, guys. He didn't get game time play. He only got game time play in the cup. So I think, and he also played right back most of the times and right mid. So I see him being a 64 rated with kind of 79 pace and like 73 dribbling. Let's go ahead into Reina now, guys. Reina, I think he's keeping the same rating or even going down like 2 ratings, because he did play for Chivas at the start of the season, scoring a goal and giving assists. But I see him being a 69 to a 70 or even a 68, guys. I actually want Reina to have more game time because he's a pretty good player. So let's go to our next one. And I actually gave Ramirez a 80 dribbling, guys, because he's actually very good with dribbling. So this guy, I think this guy has a very, very bright future. I gave him a 67. He's currently rated 65 on head-to-head. So let's go ahead into our next player, which is Brizuela. Brizuela didn't score goals, I think, with Chivas. I think he didn't, but he did give assists, guys. And I seen that when Brizuela got injured, like the team started doing bad in the Liguilla. So I think he was a very good signing for Chivas, and hopefully next year he does well. Now Saldívar was actually loaned. He's returning to Chivas from Coras, which is a second division team in Mexico. So I see him being a 64 rated. He's a striker, 76 paces. I think is good for him. He's a pretty good. So yeah, let's go ahead into Fierro, guys. I think Fierro is gonna be a 68 rated. He did play center forward most of the time behind Bravo, like a false 9 in the 4-2-3-1 from Chepo de la Torre. So I do see Fierro having a position changer from right wing to striker or center forward. So I give him Fierro a 68, guys. I think that's a very good rating for him. And then Bravo, guys. Bravo, I think he deserves a 70. He did score goals for Chivas and important goals also for Chivas. And he's 2 goals away, guys, from breaking a record in the Chivas club of being the player with the most goals scored in the club. And I read some articles on online, guys, saying that Chivas wants Bravo to retire, like kind of being Chivas top scorer. So this might be his last season, guys, and we might see a record breaker Bravo in FIFA 16, guys. So I gave him 70. I think it's pretty good for him. So let's go into our next one. Our next one is Vasquez. He was playing in Veracruz, guys. He there scored some goals in Veracruz. That's why I gave him a 65 rated striker, and he actually scored last night in the first friendly Chivas had. So I give him a 65. So I think it's a pretty good rating for him. So let's go ahead and now into our last player. Our last player is Marco Fabian, guys. And I do believe that Marco Fabian deserves a 75 left mid rated card. And the reason I think that is because he was playing on Cruz Azul and he did good with Cruz Azul. He won the Champions Trophy with Cruz Azul, and he came to Chivas. He returned to Chivas back from the loan, and he did score important goals for Chivas in the Liguilla with Atlas, and he also scored goals in the league, and he gave a bunch of assists to the Chivas players, guys. And he's actually one of the players that's been voted online to be the cover of the FIFA 16 video game for Mexico. So I do see him being 75, but if he's not 75, I think EA will give him a 73 to a 74, but I do want him to be 75. I think he deserves it. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.